Bickley and Marana mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
It would be a shame and an epic fail if the only thing the Diamondbacks win in 2025 is their future at Chase Field. If our only consolation prize is that we don't have to fret over our baseball team ending up in another city. But we're getting real close to the end, folks. The Diamondbacks went 4-5 in their easiest 9-game stretch of the season. They're back under 500 with less than a half season remaining. And if my emails are any indication, fans have reached peak anger at the bullpen, at the maddening inconsistency, and, of course, at the manager. It's still better than apathy, but after a year like this, apathy cannot be far behind. This is so disappointing. We had great expectations for the Suns, and they delivered one of the most frustrating seasons in franchise history. We had great expectations for the Diamondbacks, a team that spent lavishly on high-end pitching, and we're getting one of the most frustrating seasons in franchise history. Now, twice this season, I believed in turn-the-corner moments that I largely made up in my own head. Once when I thought an injury-riddled team would rally around a group that made the World Series only 2 years ago, and when the team rallied around the tears of Ketel Marte, proving there is crying in baseball. Now, I've kind of lost faith, and I am not sure it's coming back, and I fear for the 2025 Cardinals, who also wear the target of great expectations, and what could possibly go wrong. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
What I saw there today is unacceptable. We got to be better than that. That's ultimately on me. We're going to figure this out, and that's a frustrating series. All credit to the Marlins. They're a good team. They're pushing. They got great players, but the Arizona Diamondbacks are a good baseball team, and when we do things like that, it makes me think that we're underachieving. So we gotta fight through this. We gotta fight through these tough times. Make sure that we're focused every single day and going out there and doing our job. And when we do, that's when it's going to get better. And it's a collective effort. It starts with me, to the coaches, to the trainers, medical staff, strength coaches, and the players. And there's a common denominator here that we're not winning baseball games, and we got to find a way to win baseball games.
A couple things real quick. That's Torey Lovello, frustrated after yesterday's loss, the 3-game sweep at the Marlins. Thank you for, and maybe I'm undoing the good that you did by omitting the Sun Devil football team from your blast in terms of expectations.
Yeah. I'm kind of keeping all of this confined to our professional sports teams because ASU is the one shining light we've had in the last calendar year.
But a team with expectations.
Expectations nonetheless.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Secondly, a huge trade went down in the NFL today.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have traded all-pro safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Miami Dolphins in exchange for cornerback Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith.
Wow.
I don't know if that's the whole deal, but if that's,
that's actually a blockbuster trade.
It is a blockbuster trade. That's a lot to get back.
You never see player for player in the NFL either.
No,
Very
ever. And to get two players of that quality. Jonnu Smith very quietly had like some of the best tight end numbers in football last year.
Yeah.
That's a big trade for Pittsburgh.
And Jalen Ramsey and his fiery attitude works perfectly in Pittsburgh, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is a monster player. Wow. What a
Minkah
deal.
Fitzpatrick started in Miami, didn't he?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
The 11th pick, I believe you said he was.
So there you go. We'll get back into that later.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so here's the other thing about the Diamondbacks, and I'm not sure how many blown saves they have right now, Vinny, or Sammy, you can check that out if you don't mind.
It is, I'll get it for you.
Okay, give me the updated figure on blown saves, because I think the Washington Nationals, I was sent a text on this. The Major League record for team blown saves is the 2021 Washington Nationals. Does Jackie the Jet remember that team, Jarrett? 37 blown saves.
I'm sure I could ask him about it.
So I wonder if the Diamondbacks are...
I think the number of losses where the Diamondbacks actually had the lead is up to 28. I believe blown saves... I don't know, I'm having trouble finding the split here.
All right.
Here we go. It is...
They got to be at like 16 or 17, don't they?
16 blown saves,
Okay.
25 out of 41 as a staff.
Okay, so you've got 16 blown saves midway through. They might threaten that.
They might.
What'd you say the record was?
37 by the Washington Nationals in 2021.
A lot of baseball games.
A lot of baseball
We
games.
just talked to Jack Summers, and we were talking off the air, and Jack does a great job, and I asked him about, culpability on the starting rotation, and he kind of wanted to absolve them, which is fine. Their starting rotation ERA is 4.5. It's ranked 24th in Major League Baseball. The pitching, generally speaking, and I get Jack's point, hey, the bullpen has just been a shambles.
Yeah.
Both from an injury perspective and a performance perspective. But this starting rotation, even without Corbin Burns, has underachieved woefully.
I think the stats he was pointing out were sort of like the length that they were pitching, like they were pitching deeper into the games than we probably think.
And their starters have the 11th most innings pitched in Major League Baseball, 451 and a third. But this doesn't look like a Diamondbacks team. The way they boot the ball around.
No.
Mistakes on the base paths. These are things that have plagued this team from very early in the season. We were talking about these issues in week one, in the first series of the year against the Cubs, Ben.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And we're still
Tomorrow's
talking about
July 1st. We're still talking about it.
And yes, and listen, as somebody who's covered baseball teams full time, I can tell you that the answer is yes, resoundingly yes, that a bad bullpen that blows saves can just undo everything inside a clubhouse. It sucks. And this weekend, it kind of sucked the life out of me. You can imagine being on the team, right? And having all these games that you have had leads in and lost. That number you throw up, that's a huge number.
Here's another stat that stood out to me, too, in comparing this year's team to last year's team, which, again, last year's team ultimately fell short of the playoffs by one.
Mm-hmm.
They used 32 pitchers all last year. That's including position players doing mop-up. 32 total players threw a pitch last year for the Diamondbacks. That number's already up to 30 this year.
Wow.
And you still have all of July, August, and September to go.
And so you're right. I think these issues are working in conjunction with one another. The underwhelming starting rotation based on their pedigree of the staff, and they certainly have underachieved, and you can name them by name, but everyone knows who they are by now, has led to more exposure for a bullpen that has not only underperformed when healthy, but now just decimated to the point where you're looking down there. Who do you even call into a game? I know there were people getting on Torey Lovullo by not leaving Kyle Backus into the game yesterday after his brief appearance. And look, you can nitpick at that level, but at the same time, and I know people want to jump on Torey for everything. I get that. And I know people think that I'm way too soft on Torey, and other people in the media are way too soft on Torey. I know that's a very prevalent, popular belief out there. This has little to do with the manager.
And the connection, the parallels with the Sun season. During the Sun season, we kept saying, well, the Frank Vogel year felt so disappointing. But then we were like, well, they'd have to go like a winning streak just to get back to where they were during that season. The Diamondbacks, after last year's season, was very disappointing. Like you said, they wound up missing the playoffs. They would have to go 48-31 in the second half of this season now to equal the record from last year.
Wow.
Yeah, but going back to your Torey point, and it has been prevalent, as you said, all throughout the year. Torey Lovullo is a pretty tenured manager here in Arizona now, and the frustration among the fan base is great with him and this lack of performance. I tend to agree with you. What are you supposed to do? When you've got nobody to go to, every button you push is going to be wrong. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the messaging, and that's what people start to look at now. Is the messaging stale, and that is what has led to this team-wide malaise. And I think that's a more I'm still not there, but I think it's a more fair question to ask.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm not saying that I've been soft on Torey. I'm saying people think I've been soft on Torey. I think there have been a number of things this year that I have kind of cringed at, and the messaging is at the very, very top of the list.
You've called him the most proud manager in all of sports several times.
So some of his post-game press conferences it made me want to hurl, to be quite honest. It's not the way I would message an unfocused baseball team. And I think that's a very fair question to ask. Is the constant absolution from the manager, absolving them of everything and taking all the blame himself, is that part of the issue here?
Yeah, but does messaging change this crew? I don't feel confident in that either.
Not at this point. Not when they're injured at this point.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.